everyone has a unique solution that they have in mind. The idea is how can we combine and join forces to make this solution give us a bigger and a better impact to all. Sheikh Zayed, the founder of this nation, he said, give me agriculture and I'll give you civilization. Many countries practice water desalination intensively. And when you do that, you also produce brine or brackish water. So this is really something, again, harmful for the environment. We look at how can you utilize this and change it from a problem to a solution. Fresh water is being used to irrigate cash crops. We grow fish there. These plants are salt-loving plants. They love the salinity. The fish can be used as fertilizer or people can eat those fish. So now every single water drop is counted and there is nothing really wasted.
Please join our next seminar in the Catalyst of Change series.
Welcome to the Catalyst of Change Women Leaders in Science seminar series. This seminar has interpretation available in English, Spanish, French, and Hindi. We invite you to follow us in LinkedIn, YouTube, and social media using the hashtag Women in Science for the Catalyst of Change Women Leaders in Science seminar series. Today, we will be hearing from a leader in sustainable food systems, capacity development, and gender equity, Dr. Tarifa Alzaabi, Director General of the International Center for Biosaline Agriculture. We invite you to submit your questions and comments on Slido to be addressed in the Q&A session right after the presentation and conversation with our distinguished speaker. Tarifa Alzaabi will have a conversation with Irene Mutesi, who is Enterprise Business System Requirements Analyst at CIMMYT's Breeding Resource and Digital Solution Excellence in Breeding Platform. Mutesi holds a Bachelor in Computer Science and an MBA from the Swiss Business School and professional qualifications like the European Union Open Hub Innovation Certificate and vast experience with agri-tech innovation and agricultural solutions for different beneficiaries, including farmers and collaborators of successful products and projects in Africa and Asia. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Brian Goberts, Director General of CIMMYT, to officially open the event and introduce our distinguished speaker, Dr. Tarifa Alzaabi. Thank you, Dr. Goberts, over to you.
Thank you, Isabel, as always, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And welcome once again to our Catalyst of Change Women Leaders in Science webinar. As you know, at CIMMYT, now several months ago, we launched the TED Talk Meets Fireside Chat style series on women leaders because we want more women leaders in science institutions like ours. And to achieve this goal of a broader representation and gender balance in science, we need to provide more opportunities to hear from women leaders, their life journey, their lessons, their insights, especially because you can't be what you can see. And therefore, we want to offer different leadership styles, different ways of doing business, different ways of reaching out. And that is what this seminar series is all about. Today, we are honored to have Tarifa Alzaabi as our 27th Catalyst of Change speaker. Yes, you hear it correctly, 27 speakers we have had so far. And that also means that 27 esteemed CIMMYT colleagues have interviewed those wonderful women. And also today, Irene Mutesi will interview, and she is our Enterprise Business Systems Requirements Analyst at the CIMMYT Breeding Resources and Digital Solutions Excellence in Breeding, EBS platform. So we are very happy that Irene accepted this invitation. 27 Catalyst of Change, that's something you need to earn every day. And today is not an exception. We have a wonderful leader that will tell her story today. Tarifa Alzaabi is the Director General of the International Center for Biosaline Agriculture. She has more than 20 years of executive and leadership experience in higher education institutions, and she has developed services and strategies through innovation, research, and capacity development. She's a social scientist by training, and in her current role, Alzaabi promotes sustainable agricultural development and transformation of food systems through capacity development, women and youth engagement, as well as entrepreneurship. She has launched several programs focused on the capacity development, such as ICBA's Youth Engagement Society, or also called ICPA, yes, and she has contributed to the development of the Arab Women Leaders in Agriculture, or the AULA Fellowship Program. Alzaabi serves as an advisor on several committees, including the UAE's AgTech Development Committee, which aims to transform the country's agricultural technology sector and enhances domestic food security, and the Global SME Policy Network. This is a global initiative that aims to provide data-driven decisions and policies. Let that be well aligned with CIMIC's 2030 strategy for government and international organizations from the G20 countries. Prior to joining ICPA, she was the director of the Dubai Women's College, Higher College of Technology. She's also an endopreneur and a winner of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum SME Award as Businesswoman of the Year 2015. More recently, she won an Emirates Woman Award 2020 in the category Best Career Achievements. I think it is very clear that Alzaabi is a true catalyst of change. And she's above all a dynamic and very energetic leader. I've got the honor to know a little bit better, and I'm sure that under her leadership, ICPA and CIMIC can together work to make an even bigger difference for those we serve, the smallholder farmers. I'm sure you will enjoy and learn a lot from Tarifa's outstanding leadership. So I will leave it at that, and I want to once again give a warm welcome to our distinguished and true catalyst of change. Welcome, Tarifa, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Bram, for this exciting introduction, and I'm sure that I will be able to learn from all today and contribute some of the experiences I have. Of course, I take this opportunity to congratulate CIMIC for this great word. I mean, when you mention 27 catalysts, that's a lot of efforts and work, and also a lot of experiences to be shared. And I'm very delighted to be here with you and also with my colleague Irene here to learn from each other and share some experiences. Absolutely a delight to be here, and I will be, of course, very happy to share my experience and contribute to this discussion.
Thank you. I would like to ask you some of the questions. As a women leader, I would like to introduce Dr. Tarifa because of her commended work she has done as a thought leader. As you heard from Bram, within her journey of leadership, where she has inspired numerous women, even from the underserved communities in the world, I believe societies in which women take leadership positions on equal footing are not only fairer solutions, but also better. More successful societies with more talent, more potential, and more intergenerational equality. Thank you for your time, and I would like to ask you a few questions. What inspired you most in taking on the career that you hold now, and also looking at the fact that you are a woman leader in these spaces? Please share with us, most importantly, what inspired you to become a woman leader? Thank you.
Thank you, Irene, for this question, which is, I think it's important to all audience, not because of me, I am Tarifa, but also because women play a crucial and important roles in many fields, of which is whether it's social, whether it's agriculture, whether it is science or research and development. Since we're talking about women leaders in science, for every scientist, social scientist or scientists of different field, I think the positive curiosity is the skill that leads the way for us. I mean, we're always asking the questions of what can we do better and how can we do it better, and who can really learn or contribute or even benefit from those experiences or knowledge we try to find answers for, or we try to seek and find solutions for. So I think it's a sense of positive curiosity, and also a sense of contributing to a wider community. Since we are sharing this planet, it becomes very much important that we become a contributor to this journey. And I think through my career working in higher education, it's always been a pleasure working with young souls. I worked as an educator, as a teacher and administrator as well. So working with young people, trying to see them when they
join from first day. And again, it's back to school here in the UAE or globally as well. So we wish everyone a successful academic year. So working with the young people from the start, from not knowing exactly what major to take until the day we see them graduating, and until the day we celebrate their success, whether they become a professional in the field or an employer, or even some of them, they become political leaders. We're always proud of this achievement. And then my role in ICBA, the International Center of Biosaline Agriculture, again, it just continued because the positive curiosity is always there with the research. We try globally to answer the question, how can we feed the world with the fewer resources, with all the climate change challenges? How can we find solution? How can we collaborate together? So also working with a group of professional scientists has always inspired me to come together to try to answer some of those challenges and find solutions that can scale up and contribute positively to a wider community.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tarifa. We believe that you're doing a great work in the space that you are in. And I would like to ask you, how are you able to balance career and life alongside the work you do in the space within women leadership? Thank you.
Well, I think it's hard to reach the word balance. It is even sometimes you go for 20/80, sometimes you go for 30/70, sometimes you go for 50/50. I wouldn't say even 50/50, I would even choose 40/60. We choose our timing when we want to balance. Sometimes more time needs to be given to family and less time needs to be given to work. I think we become as women very much unfair to ourselves, thinking that we can balance. Maybe it's never meant for us to balance. Maybe it's meant for us to have bits and pieces of everything, or at some time you will be riding the high wave, whether on the family or on social or in career. I have many friends who are women at home raising children. To be honest, I see them leaders. The magnificent work that they're doing to raise children and make sure that they are taking care of them, it is not less of efforts than being a full-time employed in the workforce. So it depends really how do we see it, and it depends on the definition of a balance between one person to another. Maybe I am more after the well-being of the individual rather than the balance. There are time for myself. There are time where I dedicate it for my family, and absolutely time where I dedicate it for my work. But I think my advice is really not to be so ideal in this word, because I mean sometimes this sense of being perfectionist doesn't really exist 100%. Or this is the picture sometimes we project on people, and it causes a lot of challenges with many other women.
Thank you so much for your words and knowledge. We've learned that there is no balance, but how to work it out is the best option. What I would like to ask you another question in regards to your interesting knowledge. What are some of the leadership challenges that you have come across as a woman leader? And tell us the approach you have used to overcome in the spaces where you directly expected to lead.
I believe I was able to ride the ladder of leadership at a young age. And being young, sometimes it makes it difficult for you to prove yourself to others. Sometimes people, they just see you as a young woman, and they start doubting your skills. What I learned is not to, of course, to be judgmental. If I see a young leader, there is a lot of contribution that they can bring to the table. So I think what I've learned from the challenges being judged as a young woman being a leader is to make action speak louder than voice. Try to make sure that I understand and I observe the situation, and also try to find constructive solutions to the problem. If I am judged that because I'm young, I lack the experiences, then I would surround myself with experts, people, leaders, mentors who I would continue to learn from them, and try to design a solution for the problem or the challenge that I'm looking for. When I say about let's your action speak louder than your voice, sometimes we feel that we need to answer every single questions given to us. No, we don't. And sometimes the answer doesn't need to be in a format of words. It can be in a format of a project or a collaboration or a teamwork that you will be, leading or bringing together a group of experts that you will be learning and contributing to them. So there is different shape of forms for answers. Not necessarily everything need to be spoken about vocally. And the thing is also one of the challenges is I notice sometimes women leaders tend to be very hard on other women leaders. And I think this is something needs to change. I think it's just because women knows the capacity of the other women. They tend to challenge them more and expect more from them and expect them to bring many things to the table. We need to appreciate individual differences. We are not here to compete in life. We are here to complement each other. What I cannot achieve, somebody else can achieve. But it doesn't make me as a loser. It doesn't make me as a low performer. If I am able to pitch my case and bring that person onward and try to make sure that our collaborative efforts is 1 + 1 is equal to 11 and not only 2. So we can really maximize our efforts together.
Thank you so much for those, inspiring words. Continuing to understanding this better, where do you find the inspiration or what excites you most about your work today in today's global context?
I am kind of a people person, so I love people by default. Again, working with young souls in academia since I graduated and working now with farmers, working with policymakers, working with countries where you get to know people from different perspectives, language, experiences, expectations, cultures, heritage, so much more. So people excite me. Working with people just gives me the energy. And also empowering those people even make me happier because as you know, in science and research, you are trying to make sure that you find the solution. And this scientific solution needs to be deployed on the ground. So how can we really make sure that what we come up with as a result of extensive research done by the scientists, something will be deployed and something that people will commit to do. So finding a process or I would say co-design and engineer an approach together with the people you are delivering the service to make sure that it will give you the result that they are looking for and the result that we are happily going to celebrate. So it is about the statement of the problem. Dealing with a challenge excites me and it tries to make me think outside the box. If I don't have the solution, I'm sure that by talking to other people and bringing other people to the table, we will always win because we will always find an answer to these challenges. So that's what excites me at most.
Thank you so much. Looking at your commendable work that you've done in Biosaline and the leadership position that you have, would like to know from your experience, please describe for us a leader or a leadership style that you think makes a difference to you, from the experience that you've had within your career. Thank you.
At a very young age, I surrounded myself with a basket of leaders, I would say. So, I mean, because I love people, there are so many people's leaders in the world that I can learn from them. And I would start with the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan, the founder of the United Arab Emirates. We're a small country in terms of years, but we are very big in terms of achievements. And we moved from desert to green and industry and productivity, which is how a dream can come true. Late Sheikh Zayed taught me how I can be a dreamer and how can those dreams come true. A lot of people can tell you, for example, manage your expectation and or dream as much as you can achieve, but I mean, make your dreams achievable. I can dream big and I can make my dreams a big dream achievable if I go baby steps. I don't have to capture that dream all at once. So late Sheikh Zayed is a dreamer who converted a desert into a leading country. And I think he is really my inspiration as a leader. And then I have also, since I studied education, um, John Dewey, he's one of the scholars in the field of pragmatic education and learning. It is not, it's about knowledge transfer. And how can we develop human capital through learning and training? So experiential learning is very much important. It is exactly like, don't give people a fish, but teach them how they can fish. So they can really learn the skill and they can continue with that skills. So it is very important that a human being, they best learn through hands-on experience. So, I mean, this is really very much important for me. I would like to give people a challenge to go and solve themselves, because I cannot give them the way to do it, because each one of us can reach to a solution with a completely, unique, different way, because we're different. And that's where I want to, and I got inspired by John Dewey. And last is my own mom. I think it's the closest to my heart. I'm the youngest among my brothers and sisters, and I've always been surrounded with a lot of love and care by my mother. And my mother, who's somebody is around 78, but she was learning how to use social media. She's learning to use technologies. It's lifelong learning is what I've really seen in this woman. And this is something that I would always appreciate and pursue.
Thank you very much for those important words. You talked about, a number of challenges and how to overcome them in the professional career. What words of wisdom could you share with young and mid-career women professionals who may be struggling with similar issues, of how to become leaders?
To be patient. I want to tell them that there is, in this planet, there is a place for everyone. This is how it's being created. And you need to prove yourself, not to others, but you need to prove yourself first to yourself. What are you capable of? You're competing with your own version of yourself. Every day is a new day where you need to see yourself better than the day before, either because you've learned a new message, or you've learned a new skill, or you read a book, or you even had a very productive conversation with somebody. Even if the conversation is negative, by the way, I mean, it's not necessarily that we learn from all positive conversation, but sometimes we are able to learn from negative conversations. So surround yourself also with positive people. In our life nowadays, there are so many things going on, locally, globally, on a climate level, on a food security level, on industry level, and technology level. So we need to remain positive and we need to remain focused. And I must tell them, don't enjoy living while you're learning and trying to prove your career, because I think life is so beautiful. There is a lot of things we need to do. We need to take care of ourselves. As I mentioned to you, the well-being to me is very much important. By the end of the day, we care about our own self. Our investment should also be in ourselves when it comes to health, food, good sleep, and also good company with the people that we are surrounding ourselves.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Going on to the next question, I would like to thank you for your time and ability to share more important knowledge to enable us women evolve, act, and understand, and the key aspects around being a collaborative woman thought leader. We thank you for your efforts that you are making in this world, and the most important, especially around the improved food varieties in the underserved communities and the world. One more question that I would like to ask: what are some of the key aspects that a woman should focus on in today's world in evolving the communities in evolving underserved communities into a better world? Thank you.
I mean, I mentioned a bit of that is, first of all, we need to start with self. I mean, there is something, I mean, if you want to contribute to the larger community, you will need to start with yourself. Try to understand yourself, what you want to achieve, what you want to do, and what you are capable to do, and what are your weaknesses or areas of improvement that you would like to improve. So you need to have a plan for your own self first in order later on to move forward to helping others. And then when you try to help other communities, let's listen. I think there is a wisdom why God gave us 2 ears and 1 tongue. We need to listen twice much than what we need to talk. So we need to listen. We need to be observant and appreciative of everything happening around us in the community, especially if you are working in a global community. Appreciating the differences is very much important. Acknowledging the other is very much different. It's not only about us who knows and who has the science and we would not want to deploy our solutions to other. That's called imposing solution. That's not a deployment. So we need to be also aware of our surrounding, appreciating our surrounding, and also valuing people in our surrounding, especially in the communities that we need to work with them. And later on, when it comes to deploying a solution or contributing to a wider community, you will need to have catalysts. You will need to have champions around you. From the community, you will need to deploy a solution with them. Nobody knows their community better than themselves, and they speak the languages better than themselves. So you've got to have a lot of trust in the people you will be working with them in order to make sure that you transfer the knowledge to them and you make them the champion who need to create this kind of change. Because with this change, you need to see a long-term impact and a long-term sustainability. So engagement and involvement of people around you and understanding and analyzing the situation will be very important steps I would recommend.
Thank you very much for those important words of knowledge. Often we learn most of our life from our lived experiences, good and bad. Have you had experiences during your career that particularly shaped you? Good or
Yeah,
bad?
I think it's part of any community. Since we're living in this life, we've been always told about the good and the bad. To be honest, there are good and bad values that we will always be aware of and we will always acknowledge. But when it comes to work habits, in the past, we were told, for example, that in my culture particularly, that in the past, I recall that women will always need to have a chaperone, somebody with them to help them in doing stuff. And although there is a lot of belief in them and there is a lot of contribution, but they need to be protected. Nowadays, I see the move with the leadership vision on how can they empower women to take a wider and a bigger and a larger role, because women are equal to men and equal to individuals who can really contribute. So one of the bad is, no, you cannot do this because you're a woman. And the good now is, no, I am keen to do that because I am a woman. I might even be, or not might, women are multitasked. So we even started to acknowledge our skills. Women always been multitasked. Look at them at home, the abilities they can juggle stuff around. And likewise at work, we are able to be multitask at different level. So there is a lot of a myth or a lot of ideas that it used to be in the past as a bad, but it has been really converted to be as a good.
Thank you so much. What do you think are the biggest challenges facing young women as they are starting out their careers today? And what advice can you give, in those situations for what you have observed? Thank you.
I think being young, a man or a woman, it brings with it a lot of enthusiasm and energy and sense of competitiveness. I think we really need to watch out that because if you start to think that I deserve that position because I am better than X or Y, I think the sense of comparison is not good. I think we really need to watch out in such dynamic and competitive world on comparing yourself with the other. You only need to compare your skills, not yourself. So you don't end up being hard on yourself in a sense, oh, I'm no good for this or no good of that. And if you are competing over a job and you weren't selected for that job, just appreciate that because it's never meant to be for you. There's supposed to be some sort of understanding about maybe one door closed and the other door is open. I think it's part of the well-being. Otherwise, you need to also assess why you haven't been selected, of course. If there is any feedback you can take, you have to be constructive. But taking care of yourself in such situation is very important because our world is very, very competitive. You need to stay competitive with your skills, but make sure that you also understand situations and analyze situations. Keep an eye on the latest trends of skills and opportunities and work. Be open to the challenges and don't accept no for an answer. Always need to ask the question, why and how can I do this better? Seek clarification for things because you deserve answers.
Thank you so much. Over to Isabel.
Thank you,
Thank
Irene.
you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Irene, for having this very rich conversation with Dr. Tarifa Alzaabi. Now we would like to open the floor for questions from the audience. We invite you to raise your hand, to turn on your camera, and unmute yourself if you would like to ask a question or comment, or you can submit it via Slido. We have received several questions from Slido, so I would like to read one of those. Okay, while we are seeing more women leaders in agricultural science, we are still few and far between. How can we attract more women into the field of agricultural science, and how can we ensure that we support them through all the stages of their career?
This is a very important question and very relevant to our era now. With the challenges with food security globally and the impact of climate change, we need more women involved. And I think part of it is, number one, is growing the awareness. Why do we need more women? Of course, we need women and men. However, we would need to contribute and increase the number of women in the field. So part of this is raising awareness about the areas where we would need more collaborators to join. And also try to work with educational institutions because, I mean, it's also important to ensure that we have the right background, skills, knowledge, and degrees associated with all this research that we are requiring. For women in particular, I think there are nowadays a lot of awareness, as we mentioned, about the need of women to join such forces. So I think it's exploring different opportunities, maybe in different countries, maybe in countries that they can offer exchange programs. We try to collaborate and try to invite different calibers from different backgrounds of women to work together into interdisciplinary projects and cross countries level and try to collaborate. I'll give you an example of what can we do. This is the example we had at ICBA, where we have designed this program of AWLA, Arab Women Leaders in Agriculture. And it's a fellowship program where we invite and try to, of course, select the right candidates for this program. And we have reached around 60 graduates or alumni. And they take through a 9-month a number of experiences in climate change and agriculture technology and agribusinesses. And they do a capstone projects together. And we are trying to design also similar program for different regions. We also bring women as interns in our campus in UAE, in Central Asia, and also in some collaboration in Africa. So we would welcome application. We would welcome people who would like to do a number of research, collaborative research with our scientists. I think it's about creating opportunities and celebrating success. I think it's very much important, the role of Summit with the change catalyst, because we would like to hear from more women about the challenges and the opportunities out there. By having more role models, we are inspiring more women also to join the field.
Thank you, Dr. Tarifa. Now I'd like to give the floor to Joyce. She is raising her hand. So Joyce, be ready to open your microphone and your camera so you can make your question or your comment. Okay, Joyce. Okay, maybe while Joyce is getting ready, okay, I can read another question. We have a lot of questions in the Slido. Thank you for very much for the focus on deployment in your comments. Do you think there are ways that the agriculture research community can improve or evolve to be able to better deploy the solutions we are developing?
Deployment is very important because we are nowadays talking about sustainable impact for a long term. So with deployment, there are a number of practices, at least from our experience at ICBA, we have adopted. One is trying to do the farmer field school, especially if you're working with farmers in agriculture. It might be a good idea to bring all the farmers together and train them on the skills through a best practice hub or a knowledge hub, where you can demonstrate all your technologies and engage collaborators who could be champions from each village or each community you are working in, train them and train the trainer. So this knowledge remains to be sustained with them, and they have the best practices hub close to them, developed with all the technologies that they need to learn, and people of their own community trained as trainer to deploy those information to them. I think it's also important that we revisit any deployment, any program that has been deployed on the ground in any country after 3 years or 4 years to measure impact and sustainability, and try to really look at, is people committed to the practices that has been taught? If there is any challenges, we can always try to supply with more knowledge. Last, I would like to share the power of digital information and technologies now with digitization or digital of agriculture. It's important to build those platforms where people can still have access from their mobiles to those webinars, seminars, or even a learning that can still refresh their memories and ensure that whatever deployed in the ground is being accessed through the technological platform.
Thank you so much. I think now Joyce is ready. So Joyce, please go ahead.
Thanks, Isabel. And Dr. Tarifa, thank you for your very inspirational session. I do appreciate it. It's very inspiring this evening. And so my question is, I just want to go back to the point of, I was really glad to hear that there's nothing called balance, because I've been struggling with that. But then I believe as a woman, it's hard to get to that place because you are a mother, you're a wife, you're a career person, you're a leader. And we really work so hard to balance life. And because I think we've grown up knowing that it's important to keep a balance. I think it's been long since I ever had someone saying balance is not ideal. So I am so encouraged this evening. But then as a woman, how do you get to that space that you're comfortable saying, I am just giving my best here, I'm not looking for a balance. And then the most important thing being your well-being. I really love that bit. So how do you get there? Because it's not an easy place. I think women stay with a lot of guilt, feeling like, oh, I have failed as a mother because I was trying to grow in my career. As a leader, I'm not good enough because, there are male leaders and I'm not getting to that point. So how do you get to that balance of being comfortable with the match that you're able to do?
Thank you, Joyce, and salute. I agree with you. I think it's all about stages in life. What you want when you are 20 is different than what you want when you're 30. It's different what you want from 40 and 50 and so on. And also your children, they go through stages of life. When they're toddler, they need different needs and attention. When they're teenagers, they need different kind of relationship between the mother and the children in terms of advice. So I think we need to keep ourselves educated and aware of each stage of our life and our surrounding people, the life of the people around us. When I was younger, I'm still young, as I was always like to say that, I always had a bit of argument with my parents, for example. Now, it's changed because now I like to listen from them more. And I like to share with them about my experiences and listen to their advice. When I was a teenager, it was very difficult to take the advice from your parents. You've always felt they are intervention in your own business. So that's what I meant. We need to seek balance for each stage of life by understanding what does it really take me to do when I am in my 40s and my children are in their 20s. They need their space. They don't want me over them. Maybe it's time for my career at the moment because they have grown-up children. If they are small, you will always need to give them the love and the care because that's what they can do at that stage of life. And maybe you can engage yourself in different type of career that will be suitable for the responsibility you have. If I cannot be a CEO and I have twins children, and I don't have to be a CEO when I have a twin children, or I can be a CEO if I started a small company as an entrepreneurship and it is a business from home. So I can still manage to be and spend time with my kids, but at the same time, run my own business, which is I could be very passionate about. If you are a writer, you can always find time to write if your baby is going to sleep. If you are somebody who can you go to accountant or a freelancing, or our words have changed also when it comes to a career. I think everybody can be a leader in their own field. Even if I was a saleswoman and I work in a store, I can be a leader when I can speak better to my customers and I can appreciate them and I can be the number one salesperson for the year. I don't believe you're more successful because you are a CEO of an international organization. There is a woman who is more successful than me, being a CEO of an organization and being a sales lady somewhere in a supermarket because she's content, she enjoys what she does, and she just loves what she's doing. That's very simple because we've been grown up and been fed this sense of competitiveness for nothing. We don't have to do that, my dear. As long as we're happy and healthy with our loved ones and you're convinced every day that you have changed life and you're contributing to your best capacity, I think you're leading.
Agree. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's helpful. Thank you, Isabel.
Thank you, Joyce. So Dr. Tarifa, I'm talking about the importance of taking care of ourselves. Do you have any interests or hobbies outside of work that energize you?
I go to the gym. I do kickboxing. So that releases the stress, that keeps my muscle better, and that gives me some joy. I am not a gym person who I can go on the treadmill, but I can kickbox very hard.
Excellent.
And I love traveling. Let me add one thing. I think it's important as well, if your job have some percentages of your hobby. I love traveling and working in an international organization. And I love people I mentioned earlier. I love to observe culture. I love to eat. I love food and I love heritage. So this comes as a package. When I am traveling on a mission, there is nothing contradict the fact that I can take an evening and go watch a cultural show of that city I'm visiting, or have a conversation on the street with somebody about their culture, about their food, about their country, about what do they like. And I carry with me some notebook where I write my memories about that country. And I'm really hoping that one day my book will see the light with all the wealth of experiences I've learned from people and I was able to hear from them.
Thank you. These are great advices. Traveling, getting to know people, talk to people, and also the kickboxing just to get release of that energy and renew your energy. So now we are going to give the floor to Aide Molina. She would like to make a question. Aide, over to you.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Dr. Tarifa, for your contribution and experience. And also, I would like to know what is our challenge to inspire the new generations. I have two daughters, so I would like to know how can I try to do my best all day, all week, all the year for them, but I would like to know what is our challenge as women in science to be the inspiration for them. Thank you.
Thank you. And let me say that I have a daughter and she's 20 years. And I hear you. And I face the challenge. I mean, I hope she's hearing me or she's not hearing me. I don't know. It is generation comes with different skills, and we have to acknowledge that they're different than us. And parents were always protective of our children. We only want to see them the best. But the best that we want is different than the best they want. And this is the formula that we need to meet the way or have the way through for that. So I think as reading more about the generation and their skills and their expectation, I do believe in the power of reading and trying to understand the trends with each generation and what do they like and what they don't. And the role of mother has changed. I remember my days with my mom. If she tells me, sit down in one place, I will sit down in one place without one word. And we say, yes, sir, and we accept whatever they say. Nowadays, generation, they love to ask you, and even they gonna ask Google before you, and they will check everything you will tell them. So I think the generation expectation has changed, and you would need to understand and allow that kind of a space to learn more about them and meet at a point where they can listen to you, career aspiration, expectation, challenges in life. We can only be their friends in their life in order to be a very protective figure of them and try to make them two ways communication. We talk to them and we listen, because I'm telling you as a parent, sometimes when we hear something we don't like, we tend to react immediately, or it shows in our face. Unfortunately, our generation doesn't hide the facial expression. So there are a number of ways. It's not easy. There is no one way solutions for that. But I think this is the only way where we can bridge the gap through open communication, through trust, and through listening twice twice to what they say. I hope I answered you.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Aide. Okay, so going back to leadership and training the trainer, here we have a question. Are there people who you have mentored or coached are there people who you have mentored or coached who have gone on to leadership positions? Are there lessons you have learned from that coaching?
Absolutely. I'm very proud to say that there are two ladies in the cabinet of the Ministry in the United Arab Emirates who were my students when I was in the academia. And I also I had the opportunity to teach innovation and business at the university in higher education. And I also have a number of men who are now in a very high positions in the government. And I also, when I travel, I come to see ambassadors who used to be my student and vice ambassadors who were in classes, and they were very difficult students, but now I'm very proud of them. I think they were difficult because they're asking all the questions, and now they are in a very high political position where they are dealing with the very difficult questions. So yes, I'm very happy with that. And I think the takeaway from that is when you see them, you feel very proud of your investment. And you feel that it is the spirit of altruism, given something for no return, and their success is your success. And I think this is the feeling where you can't buy by money, and you cannot earn by any sort of any sort of engagement of other things. So it's very, very rewarding feeling to see them. And what I've learned from that is to stay patient. Students are students when I was in academia. Even now with agriculture, by the way, with the program of AULA, the Arab Women Leaders in Agriculture, we are mentoring many of women leaders in agriculture. And we are keeping the conversation open. They will reach out to you. They'll ask you different questions. If you subscribe to become a mentor, then you really need to develop the skills of being a mentor. You've got to give time to those individuals and make sure that you share your experiences with them and you listen to them as well. It's about time commitment to them, I believe, and doing this kind of reflections.
Thank you. So what do you think the role of failure is in being able to grow? How can we learn from failures?
I love failures. That's my best part because this is where you get to learn. And in fact, I don't like the word fail, although I appreciate it. But I think it's about creating experiences. This is the word. I think we fail on daily basis. Even if somebody tell you, you seek an answer and people tell you, no, this is not what I expect from you. It doesn't mean that you failed, but you need to strive to look at different approach of doing things. Look at this example. If even I cook a food and I think I am a good chef, and then I ended up cooking something and the food doesn't taste well, I made the effort. The next time I'll make sure that I do better with the food I've done. So as I mentioned earlier, we need to take it easy on ourselves and we need to watch our well-being. These kind of terminology and vocabulary, they are very old-fashioned. Fail or pass, always being in the comparison. And as I mentioned earlier, we do not need to put ourselves in a sense of comparison with anyone. We need to continue learning. If I don't get things right in the first time, I'm sure I'm going to get them in the second time. If I don't even get them in the second time right, maybe that never meant to be. And maybe I need to make a U-turn and a detour and I take another road because it meant to be to learn something different. So we need to be flexible with ourselves. We know we don't need to be aggressive in terms of criticizing ourselves, but we always need to see the good and the bad always, because there is a meaning of everything happens to us.
Yeah, thank you so much. So you are such an inspiration in both your career successes and in communication style. Thank you so much for being with us today to share your story and lessons. Do you have any parting advice for CIMIT as an organization to continue growing women leaders?
Sorry, say that again. I missed the last part.
Yeah, do you have any advices for CIMIT as an organization to continue growing women leaders?
Yes. First of all, my words to CIMIT is a pat on the shoulder. Congratulations in this good work. We always need to celebrate success, and I think this is a great work. I think a growing network of change catalyst is very much important. And thank you for accepting the other. I come from different culture. I come with different experiences, and I'm sure that you have hosted many other successful women with their experiences. And I think the diversity is what will make us strong and makes us appreciate each other and learn from each other. I think in the introduction, something has been said about let's learn from different. Maybe we're doing things differently, but because we are in different culture, let's learn from each other. So let's keep collaborating, learning, and appreciating others, because that's what's the strength. Our diversity brings us to a very solid strength together.
Thank you. Any other message that you would like to share with us? Thank you so much for sharing with us your professional growth and your personal growth, but anything else that you would like to mention?
I would like to mention for all the audience to just keep going and keep being proud of what you have done. I believe we as women need to support each other. So we need to open that kind of network of helping each other and having accessibility to different resources and different opportunities. I think it's very much to consider the social inclusion and to have different opportunities for each other in different places. I would like to say that I am available on social media and I have an email and LinkedIn, and I will be very much happy if somebody needs any kind of support or advice or an opportunity if I can be of a help to anyone.
Thank you. So I think we could learn from also from you and from the ARAF Women Leaders in Agriculture Science program. Could we follow up with you to connect on that?
Definitely.
Okay, thank you so much. So any final word, or you can maybe summarize a few words of wisdom that you would like to share, just to finalize our session, our conversation of today.
Well, I would like to conclude by stressing the importance of women empowerment and creating opportunities for women locally, globally, at different levels. Trying to stress the importance of contribution to the agenda of climate change and food security as women, and try to make sure that through research and development and being partner in doing all of this kind of work, it is important that we collaborate and we complement each other research agenda and look at ways where we can learn from each other. And also, it is important that we celebrate success, as we rightly mentioned, and have access to different resources globally.
Thank you so much. So we would like to thank you, Dr. Tarifa Alzaabi, for sharing with us your remarkable, outstanding professional and personal journey in agricultural development and leadership, and being a catalyst of change leader. So we are so honored to learn from you, your amazing and inspiring professional career. On behalf of Dr. Brankover, Director General of CIMMYT, we thank you so much for your valuable time for being here today. Thank you so much for sharing with us your rich experience and professional growth. Also, we thank the audience that joined today. Do not miss our following Catalyst of Change Women Leaders in Science series. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Innovation, invigoration, and inspiration. And when we talk about nutrition, we absolutely need innovation in our cereal systems, in our food systems, at policy level, on the plate. And we also need innovation in terms of the production of materials, technologies, products that are meeting people's needs culturally, regionally. We also need innovation in the agricultural system. We need to drive sustainable production. We need to measure this sustainability. We need to demonstrate the credibility of it. And we need to use it to engage others. So engagement is about invigorating others, from governments to private sector, to those involved in scaling. But we must be intentional. We must ensure that our sustainable production system that is being driven by innovation accrues benefits to farmers. We tend to forget that they are net consumers rather than producers, and therefore nutritional gains must meet their needs immediately at the farm level before they start meeting the needs of consumers at large. And when I talk about inspiration, I think we need to use inspired examples and evidence to persuade climate finance to support smallholder agricultural production that is climate smart. And we need to use inspiration, evidence, and creativity to persuade people to change the way they eat and to adopt more nutritious diets.
Please join our next seminar in the Catalyst of Change series.